but you need to be aware that you need to have momentum. And if you don't have the awareness that you have it, or you're losing it, are you going to try to increase it, or are you going to try to fix it, or are you just going to try to coast and float and drift through life? Okay, so you either have it or you're trying to figure it out how to get it. But measurable success in life in any area comes directly on the backside of gaining momentum and sustaining momentum for periods of time, creating acceleration of results in a shorter time frame than normally possible. So essentially, when we have momentum, our results are higher in the same time frame. So we need to gain this, and if we don't have it, we need to figure out how, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's dig on in, guys. Let's talk about the power of momentum in business. And I want to kind of give you the start here so you guys know if you're a little bit newer in business. Some of you guys are brand new. Some of you guys have been doing this thing for 10, 20 years. But if you guys are a little bit newer, every single person's going to have a slump. Everybody's going to get into a plateau. Everybody's going to have cycles. You're going to have good runs, bad runs. You're going to go from troughs to peaks and back and forth. And it's how you navigate the up and downs in life and business as you move throughout growing your business, because your personal life does impact your business life and your business life does impact your personal life. Everything's going to ebb and flow. And so the better you guys have kind of control over these peaks and troughs and how you're moving through these momentum waves in your business and your career, is the faster you're going to get to your goals. So the high achievers go through these same plateaus. They just get out of them quicker, and they have a faster what's called bounce back time. You guys have heard that. And this just comes with, for one, just being in business for a long time. The things that seem like they're the end of the world in the beginning seem like just another part of your day later on in your business career, because you realize problems are continuous and you just push past them as fast as you can to get to the next problem. And business is a reoccurring problem that you solve in different areas. And the faster you can solve the problems in different areas of your business, the faster you get to your goals. So business is essentially solving problems for others, because that's what we're doing, is we're creating value of some type, and we're getting exchange of value monetarily for the problems that we're solving for them. Now, everyone has a slump, guys. So don't beat yourself up if you're going through a slump right now. I know some of you guys are having big winning streaks. Some of you guys are in losing streaks. Some of you guys are stagnated, which we're going to talk about. But you just need to identify where you're at and what you're trying to achieve and where you're trying to go in each area of your life. So I want you to write this down on your wall. Keep it on your wall. The big Mo, right? You've heard this before. The power of momentum. But you need to be aware that you need to have momentum. And if you don't have the awareness that you have it, or you're losing it, are you going to try to increase it, or are you going to try to fix it, or are you just going to try to coast and float and drift through life? Okay. So you either have it or you're trying to figure it out how to get it. But measurable success in life in any area comes directly on the backside of gaining momentum and sustaining momentum for periods of time, creating acceleration of results in a shorter time frame than normally possible. So essentially, when we have momentum, our results are higher in the same time frame. So we need to gain this. And if we don't have it, we need to figure out how, and that's what we're going to talk about today. But life is about momentum cycles. You either have it, then you lose it, and you have to gain it back. So I'll give you guys just maybe 60 seconds real quick. Don't take too long. But these are the areas of life that most people focus on. Now, there's quite a few other areas of life you can add to this and take away from this, depending on your personal view on life and how you live your life. But what I would do real quick, guys, is write down 0 to 10, 10 being massive momentum, meaning you're doing really, really well. Everything's going right. Everything's moving in the right direction. That's massive momentum. Put a 10. And then if you're completely out of momentum, you're having no results, everything's falling apart, and everything's in the worst shape possible, put a 0, and rank yourself on these real quick. And this is just going to give you kind of a basic range of where you're at kind of in your life. Now, sometimes we have balance, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we're more focused on business goals, and sometimes we're more focused on personal relationship goals. Like, for example, when you're healthy, your main focus is to make money, probably in your business. But when you're not healthy and you're dealing with health issues, do you really care about if you're making money or not? For the most part, you care about feeling better and getting better. So we just need to kind of have a good understanding of where we're at. And you guys should be doing this almost on a daily basis, honestly, and having a planning, auditing effect. So you know exactly where your life is at, where you're trying to go, what you're lacking on, where you're trying to achieve more. And you can kind of see where you're at, because sometimes we think we're doing better in some areas of life than we are. And then when we kind of put a ranking to it, or put a focus on and awareness on it, we realize we're not. One of the big things that Tony Robbins teaches is the kind of levels of where we can measure ourselves at, which is progression, stagnation, and regression. So stagnation is where we're flat, means nothing's really happening. We're just kind of moving forward and kind of floating and drifting through life. Regression is actually where we're having less results. We're going backwards, and progression is where we want to be. Progression equals happiness. So anytime we're improving in our life, our physical conditions getting better, we're going to be a happier person. Anytime our bank account's getting bigger, anytime we're moving forward and progressing without setbacks, this is when it's the easiest to control our mindset. Now, you can control your mindset when you're going backwards and still be happy, still be content, but it's easier to do so when we're progressing. So quickly ask yourself these questions, guys, as we go into this. How are you doing right now in comparison to what you were doing a year ago? Are you doing more transactions? Are you doing fewer transactions? Is your team growing by more agents or growing by fewer agents? How are you doing on an individual basis? Are you working more hours this week? Meaning, did you work 50 hours this week and you used to work 30? Or are you working 5 hours a week and you used to work 50? Where's your work ethic at right now? How much time is going into your business? Do I tell myself the truth and right there in the middle, or do I lie to myself to protect my emotions? Now, one of the things that we do, and it's very common in sports and business when our results are not where we want them to be, is we start looking for ways to kind of deflect the attention or the blame, or are we doing what we need to be doing? So you need to have that brutal honesty. Are your results lacking because of things that you've done? Have you changed habits? Have you changed patterns? Have you made different decisions? Have you let the wrong people into your life, which we're going to go into? And then what caused the change in results? This is the most important thing. If you have had a change in results, you were doing better and now you're doing worse. What caused the change? Were you doing something with marketing that you were doing before that you're not doing now? Were you having different patterns in your day? Were you getting up and going to the gym in the morning, but now you're not? Do you have, what changed to cause, what could have led to causing this change in momentum? And then where are you currently at in those areas that we just looked at? Okay. So winning streaks and slumps and setbacks, both from the mindset first. This is what I really want you guys to take away from this. Slumps always come from the mindset. Now, all slumps and momentum breaks are corrected in the mind first. So this is why an athlete at the bottom, guys, you can see with the same physical strength, endurance, and coordination can have ups and downs throughout their career, even though everything physical is equal. So for example, right here, let's take a look at this golfer. So if this golfer at the top right there in the orange has played 3.5 rounds. So in a professional golf tournament, guys, there's 4 rounds. They've played 3.5 rounds perfect. They have the best score they could have had at this point. And then the last 9 holes, they do what? They blow up. They start shanking the ball. They hit every sandbox. They land in every lake. And all of a sudden, they blow the lead that they had 7 shots to win the the Masters. And all of a sudden, they lose and get 3rd place or something like that. What actually happened here? They were just as strong, just as fast. They had the same jersey or whatever it is. Everything was held constant except for one thing changed. So if they didn't get injured, it had to be a changing and shifting in the mindset, which means what they were thinking while they were going through this process, what they were thinking on the last hole. Oh my gosh, everybody's watching me. What if I blow up? What if I fail here? And those thoughts caused the actual physical body to change and the physical body not to operate the same way as it was and doing different things. And that's when they started having, subpar shots. And then as they started having subpar shots, they started reflecting off the actions that they had, saying, oh my gosh, I'm not playing well, I'm shanking the ball. And then it creates that losing streak in the mind. And all of a sudden everything collapses right at the last second. Okay. It is the mindset or the thinking process that causes self-esteem issues, belief issues, work ethic issues, external disruption issues, and self-sabotage. Okay. So the first thing is awareness. So that's what you guys need to focus on right now. Now that you know those areas that we put up there, those are the main areas of life that we track. You need to have the awareness of what is actually happening in each area of those lives or each area of your life and why some are thriving and why some are not having the results that you want. Now, Earl Nightingale down there at the bottom is famous saying, we are all self-made, but only the successful ones of us will admit it. What that means is we're all in the spot in life that we create ourselves. We just don't want to admit it unless we're actually successful at the things that we're doing currently at the time. And there's been times in my life when I was struggling and failing. I didn't want to admit that these were the reason I was where I was at was because of the things I was doing, the actions I was taking, the thoughts I was thinking on a daily basis. And then, but at the same time, if you guys are having really good results in life, you want to take the credit for it and you want to reward yourself and prop yourself up for it and commend yourself because your results are because of your own efforts. But also your negative results are because of your own efforts. So down there at the bottom, guys, does your thinking create your environment or does your environment create your thinking? So when I heard Earl say this years ago, it really revolutionized the way I looked at my life and how I was going to look at all my business going forward. So it has to be one of these 2 things. These are the 2 different kind of underlying thought processes on how life is kind of lived. One on the left side is you have an external and an internal world. One is the thought process where my external environment controls my future that I show up at, which is right there on the left, the environment, the parents I grew up with, the country I live in, who the president is, who's my partner, who's my sponsor, which brokerage, which industry, everything external to you. Okay. This is going to cause your thinking. So you're an externally controlled future. Now on the other side, your thinking causes your environment, meaning I don't care what these limiting beliefs that I have. I don't care what I'm going up against. I'm going to show up where I want, meaning I'm going to have the life that I want regardless. The friends, the family, the toys, the house, all the good stuff. So one is our environment controls our thinking, meaning the things happening around us cause our level of happiness. And the other one is I don't care what's happening around me. My mindset's going to tell me how I want to feel and how I want to live my life and how I see myself and who I am. And the environment around me is going to change based off the thinking that I have. So one is I have no control over my future. The other one is I have full control over my future. But if we blame the wrong thing, so if we're blaming something externally around us, what does that do? It gives the control to that thing around us to change. And if it doesn't change, then we don't change. But when it's our problem to change and we blame it on ourselves, then we have internal blame and self-control. And now we can change, which causes things around us to change. So it's very detrimental to your life if you're blaming someone in your life, a friend or a family member, for your lack of results, or a situation that you're in, say in the industry or whatever it is. So as long as we're blaming things around us, guys, we have no internal ability to control them. So the first step of building momentum is the awareness of the identifying you do not have it in current, you do not have what you want currently in that area of your life, and you making the conscious decision you would build that momentum in that area of your life. So what you guys worked on a second ago is the awareness that I'm not doing what I want in this part of my life. Now we need to set new goals in that area of our life. Define goals, write them, speak them, listen to them, consume them in every way that you consume a goal. Okay. So down there at the bottom, the awareness to identify and the decision to act on. So now that we know that we're not just lying to ourselves, that we actually have these problems that we have to face, now we have to have the decision to act on them. It's not just awareness that we have it. It's just like also like when it comes to having results, it's not just reading the books and coming to the mastermind calls and hearing the podcasts and gaining the information. You actually have to implement what you learned. So there's always this and then that to get the results, right? So it's not just awareness to have the problem, it's the awareness to have it, then the decision to act to fix it. It's not just, hey, I want to increase my skill sets, I'm going to read books on this. Once I read the books, I have to implement what I learned. This is what's very important to understand, guys. There's no accidental success. Anybody that I've ever seen achieve something on the highest level, they planned it years in advance and they put it on pen and paper and they acted it out. So all long-term success is planned. So what do you really want in life? And if you haven't thought about it in a long time, this is why you don't have it. So if you do not know what you want, you cannot actually have it. So most people struggle with their mindset because they're lost in life and they don't even know what they want anymore. So the first step is defining what you actually want and then deciding that you need it. So in life, we rarely achieve things that we just want. We only sacrifice and push past things bad enough if we actually need them.